Welcome. I am going to call the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees, September 20th, 7 o'clock to order. Would you all please stand and, oh wait, I need a resolution, excuse me. Catherine Trapp is not here this evening. I need a resolution for Lisa Hall to take the minutes, please.
So motion. Support.
Motion by Parker, support by Hart. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, perfect. Let's say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lisa, roll call, please.
Bartholomew,
Here.
Edwards,
Here.
Fowler,
Yes.
Hart,
Here.
Parker,
Here.
Kuzmansky. Here. Melzan.
Here.
All members are present.
We have a quorum. Okay. Okay, in your packet, you have the consent agenda, which consisted of minutes from August 16th, closed session minutes, which are on the pink paper in front of you from August 16th. You have council bills and the vendor report. The two amounts, $125,089.72 and $1,303,788. I put the dollars in the wrong spot. $1,303,788.40, plus the meeting agenda.
I'd like to go over the meeting minutes, the regular meeting, and then also the check registry, vendor activity. Pull those out.
Okay, so then do we have a motion to approve the closed session and the meeting agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Motion by Hart, support by Edwards. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Your meeting minutes, Justin?
One correction. Page 2, motion, middle of the page, motion by Edwards, seconded by Melzan to approve the bills. It has me voting yay. I was a no vote on that.
Okay.
That was it.
Any other adjustments?
Megan, on that one, I'm not sure how you voted.
Which one?
It has you voting no. I thought it was just me and Zach voting no on that one, but I don't recall if you do or not.
I will have her listen to the meeting just to make sure that they're correct. She can review the meeting,
Under
the video from last month, just to make sure that that's
payment of
correct.
bills,
I don't recall.
just above number 4.
Yeah, I'll have to check.
So a motion to approve the minutes with that addition or correction?
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Edwards. I'll give that one to Bartholomew. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And then council bills or vendor report, which you have a question on?
So on the check registry, page 1, I was questioning why there was 2 payments within 10, 12 days to the MIT and the same amount. I was just trying to figure out why that happened. It almost looks like they got paid twice that month. And then when you see vendor activity in the reports, they're never listed on there. So we're like where they fall or why are they not on the other reports?
That should be just on the vendor report. I'm assuming it's just a timing issue because we only do pay that once a month, but when Rebecca does have time to enter those. So one was for August, as you see, August, what is that, the 18th?
18th.
And then the other check was for September 9th. So she probably just entered them in extra close,
So
but knowing that
that's
they were
not
being
when, that's
approved
just when they
today.
enter them in the computer, that's not the date of the check.
Right, the checks don't get mailed out until after we approve them at our monthly meeting. She enters them all in, which is what you were questioning the dates from before.
Okay, and then, yeah, then it's just why didn't they fall on to the activity reports? Like the journal and stuff, shouldn't it be categorized under what department?
Some are
it's coming in?
council bills and some are vendor bills. So some require them to be on the vendor activity report, some just require them to be in the check register as a regular payment. That's why. Those contracted services
So like
would be
we
in the
look
check
at
register report because we
our
paid them.
legal- Our legal, he falls under a vendor activity report,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then there's also a check. So I just, for clarification, why wouldn't that be consistent for all our vendors?
It's the process in place and what is considered a council bill and what is considered just a regular monthly bill. You don't see on the vendor report, AT&T, right? Because we're paying them, but that's for the service that they provide, or Comcast. Those sorts of service vendors, where they get paid through the check register, but they're not on our vendor, vendor activity report. That's why.
So
It's the
what-
classification difference.
So what difference them from, or what makes them different from legal? Why would the MIT be separate from that? That's confusing when you're looking through a vendor activity for regular vendors, not utilities. Why wouldn't they be on there?
I would have to ask Rebecca that question. I don't have an answer to that.
All right, if you get back, that'd be great.
Unless you have an answer to that, not to throw you on the spot, but,
Well,
sorry, she lost her voice, so.
Oh,
the mid-lease was approved. It's just something that gets paid monthly, first of the month. So, like, those kinds of things aren't on, they don't need to be approved, they already have them. The check register activity report is the checks dated this day after the last council meeting up until tomorrow's date.
okay.
So like the vendor activity and the, what's the other one, distribution by GL, those are just dated for tomorrow. These are all the council checks I ran for this month,
Okay.
for September.
So then I guess, like you said, it's already approved, the MIT. Isn't it, wouldn't that be
Right.
the same
Like
for our legal?
AT&T.
Because our legal's been approved, right? So why are they showing up?
Mark's
That's
bill
variable.
difference every month, right? His bill
It's a
varies
variable bill.
depending on how much prosecution or if there's something else that he's
So
invoicing
just,
for.
okay, makes sense.
So there isn't an amount.
Thank you. Appreciate it, thank you.
Okay.
I have
So-
one question.
I'm sorry, did you have a question on any of the amount, or you just wanted a clarification of why the reports are their way?
Why they are, and then why the MIT was showing up twice in, the 1 month period. If they're paid at the first of the month and they didn't get a check to the 18th, that was, or if that was just when it got entered, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it's just a concern, I wanna make sure we're.
On our
Right.
agenda, 9B, maybe something that we may want to table until after we have this discussion. I know, advised by legal from our last conversation that we had with them, something that we may not want to go over with right now.
Unfortunately, no, because timing is of the key, of the essence, so. But let's talk about the bills right now. Do you have any discussion on any of the bills?
No, it's just the
Okay, all right.
postponing.
Then do we have a
this thing
motion
here.
to approve the two council bills and vendor report with those amounts?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills and the, what is it?
The vendor report and the council bills.
The vendor report and the council bills?
Support?
Support by Bartholomew. Roll call, please, Lisa.
Edwards,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Parker,
No.
Hart,
Yes.
Fowler,
No,
Poznanski,
Yes.
Melzan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, we have no special presentations tonight. We have no correspondence. Public comment. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to make a public comment at this time? We do have a duo from Armada, so welcome to Romeo.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us tonight. This is Dave Conan. He is our president pro tem. I am Michelle Polis. I am the village clerk of the Village of Armada. Unfortunately, our president could not be here this evening, so we are doing the presentation for him, our thank yous. I prepared a letter. I'm just going to read it. It's signed by our president. I don't have my glasses, so bear with me. So, on behalf of the Village of Armada Council, I would like to offer our sincerest gratitude to the Village of Romeo's Department of Public Works for their assistance during the recent tornado that devastated the Village of Armada. We have no words, as thank you just doesn't seem to be enough. As most of you know, an F0, F1 tornado hit the Village of Armada and the surrounding area on July 24, 2021, which completely changed the landscape of our village, as so many of our beautiful old trees on village property and on residents' properties were taken down. Many of our residents also suffered home and auto losses, and the devastation was nothing we could have imagined as a community. What we also couldn't have imagined was the immediate offer of assistance of your people and equipment. We could not have accomplished so much without your assistance. I cannot express to you how deeply we appreciate your department. Let's hope that there is never another natural disaster, but if there is, please know that you can count on the Village of Armada for any assistance needed. We have no words. It was amazing, the outpour of your community, your people, your police department, your DPW, all of that.
Your football team.
Your football team. Yeah, thank you. You know, there was just so much that we could not have done, you know, so thank you very much for the use of your department. So we have that in writing, so we're just gonna hand that
That's
over.
great.
if I can.
We will pass that
Thank you.
around. Thank you.
So-
It was our duty to help neighbors. So
Well-
we are proud. This community has a makeup of extremely generous and caring people at all levels. And so I think everybody was indeed just proud to be over there to lend a hand in need. So you are very welcome.
Honestly, it's like people are innately good, you know, so,
Yes.
I mean, and it was a beautiful showing, so thank you from somebody who actually was hit by the tornado. Very, very much appreciated, so, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks all of you guys.
You're welcome.
Is there anybody else for public comment?
Yes. Parking in Romeo. It's always been a problem. Nathan Bartholomew, 298 North Main Street. Over the last 50-plus years, I've watched many changes that have taken place in the village downtown district, especially in the area of parking. Yes, believe it or not, our quiet village of Romeo had parking meters in the 1950s. We were a bustling town. Our business district over the years has certainly seen its shares of ups and downs. As a child in the early 70s, I remember walking downtown with my mom and my four other siblings to the annual sidewalk sales. I remember that as we approached town, it looked like a large fair that was taking place, with tons of clothing racks, tons of merchandise, tons of people, and of course, no place to park, which is exactly why we walked downtown. You see, during that time, Romeo had everything we needed in town. We had a men's clothing store, a women's clothing store, a Madaw's department store, barber shop, salons, a sporting goods store, a record store, a hardware, a shoe store, a travel agency, 2 thrift stores, 2 drugstores, the Time Shop, which sold watches, clocks, and jewelry. And yes, we even had our own grocery store. Things were great. Up until 1976, the year that Lakeside Mall opened. Sadly, most of these businesses in town went under, leaving us to be known as a small town with a few bars, a couple of restaurants, and a lot of antique shops. But let's fast forward to our current status. Today, Romeo is doing well. And while this is great and certainly what we want, it unfortunately takes us back to the parking problems we currently have, especially in our northwest quadrant where the village park is located. The biggest problem we've always had with that quadrant of town is the post office has no parking. So by no fault of their own, the postal employees have to park on the street for the entire day, thus taking most of the available parking that the businesses could certainly use. So now, to my point, and the exciting news is that the Village of Romeo just recently closed on the purchase of the vacant lot located right next to the post office. It boasts approximately 22 spaces for the cars to use and this couldn't come at a better time. In fact, this is huge. But I must say that the acquisition of this property is a direct result of our village president, Christine Malzahn's hard work and determination to make it happen. She saw a great opportunity for this village, got a hold of a realtor friend, and went for it. And this board is to be thanked too, because at every time that she needed our approval to move forward with this, it was always unanimous. The nail-biting part of it was getting to that completion, because we offered less than the seller was asking, and anyone could have come along, read the sign, called the number, and said, "I'll give you what you want. I want to put a house there." But we made it, and it's ours. And I've been talking to a lot of the people in the Northwest Quadrant, employers, employees, business owners, residents, and postal carriers, and people are very, very excited about this. This is a big deal. And so I would like to give you, President Malzahn, a card. It's one of those things from all of us, from a lot of people in Northwest Quadrant who really appreciate your hard work in getting this done, as well as the
Thank you.
boards.
Thank you. That is so very nice and thoughtful of you.
Of course.
That's fabulous.
And this
I'll
comes at a
take
great-
time to read this, yes.
Yes, and it comes at a great time with, us getting ready to revamp the park. I mean, bands will be able to park their trailers over there in the parking lot instead of having to have them around the park. It's just good all the way around. So thank you, everyone.
I do see it as a win-win. Thank you for your kind words.
Of course.
Okay, anybody else for public comment? Okay, let's move on to our officer reports. My president's report for September 20th, 2021. I want to express my sincere thanks to all of the organizers who planned, volunteered, and contributed to our amazing 90th Peach Festival this past Labor Day weekend. There was record attendance taking part in the festivities, and Romeo proudly welcomed them all to our beautiful historic village. Our DPW and police outdid themselves in keeping us safe and clean, and I can't thank them enough for the quality of their work. Well done, everyone. Thank you to the Parks and Rec Senior Center for organizing and inviting Clerk Trapp, Treasurer Maddox, and myself to speak at a coffee and conversation meeting at the Senior Center. Clerk Trapp and I attended, along with Bruce Township Supervisor Mike Philbrook. In case you missed it, the next scheduled opportunity is November 8th. Everyone is invited to attend and ask questions to the elected officials, so please join us. Congratulations to Catherine Trapp. She was named Village Clerk of the Year from the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks on September 8th, 2021, in recognition for her commitment and leadership to the citizens of Michigan as the Romeo Village Clerk. I was invited to the ribbon cutting and open house celebration of the Trilogy Independent Living Center located on 33 Mile Road. This newest Trilogy investment in Bruce Township offers its residents a world-class facility in which to thrive in a family, community-minded environment. What a tremendous asset to be added to this area. If you have a moment, I encourage you all to go over there. It's absolutely gorgeous. Take a tour. Congratulations to Elizabeth Miller, who was selected as the new Romeo DDA Executive Director. I was a member of the hiring committee alongside John Rose, Zach Hayes, and Kelly Stevens from the DDA. We unanimously recommended her to the board at the DDA meeting on September 13th. I look forward to working with her collaboratively, seeking solutions and expanding communications between the DDA board and our business owners. The tree board met on the 17th. They are coordinating a few more tree plantings in the next few weeks. Locations are still being determined, and I am continuing to work with them to develop a long-term care and planting policy, which will include updating our current ordinance. It is a painstaking process, but I thank them for their efforts on this very important project. We are rapidly losing trees to disease and storm damage, so developing a replacement program is very necessary. A friendly reminder that our second 2021 paper shred and e-waste recycling event, which is co-sponsored by Bruce Township, is scheduled for Saturday, October 16th from 9 to noon in the parking lot here at 361 Morton Street. Please mark your calendars and bring your items for this free event. Both paper and electronics, with some limitations, will be accepted. You can see a list of those limitations, I believe, if you visit Priority Waste website. And as always, I continue to hold regular office hours to meet with our property and business owners to address their concerns. If you have a concern, compliment, or complaint that you need assistance with, please call my office at 752-3565. I am at extension 3. And for anybody else who hasn't called, texted, or inquired about the group that is outside of the village office, they are indeed camping out and have been there since last Thursday in advance of our 10 a.m. on the 22nd acceptance of marijuana license applications. That is the first come, first serve date and time stamp that they can turn those in. So apparently it's very important to them to be first in line. That concludes my report. Lisa, did Catherine give you a report to read on her behalf?
No, she didn't.
Okay, and I'm assuming she will present one next week. Treasurer Maddox, did you have a report?
All tax payments have been processed, so any tax payments that do come into the office, those are being directed to Macomb County Treasurer. And I'm going to read through the address. It's also posted out on the website. So anybody that has not paid their tax, you can send it to Macomb County Treasurer with the Village of Romeo check, adding 1% for the month of September. And the mailing address is 1 South Main, 2nd floor, Mount Clemens, 48043-2312. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. I'm in the process right now of downloading all the reports. I'll be balancing with Bruce first. Once I get the assessors to sign off on, from Bruce, Lisa will sign off on her reports. I'll go and start downloading the reports from Washington. I'll get the sign off from Patty, and then I compile the reports, and then I schedule an appointment to meet with Macomb County Treasurer, and that's an update with the tax. And I just want to say that, therefore, the seasonal assistant that I have, Caroline, is mainly going to be reporting to Catherine and Christine, who she'll be overseeing the application process and working with Catherine in that regards. And any time that she does work for the Treasury Department, she'll be allocating it on her timesheet. So at this current time, she is not directly reporting to me as the treasurer. Does anyone have any questions? Okay.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustees? Zach, did you have a trustee report?
Just some communications from the Zion Church is going up for sale, and I communicated a little bit with some of the members here. The property is zoned currently commercial, and it's located in a residential community. So trying to work with the church in order to bring it in front of the ZBA to rezone it before a developer buys that property and tries to squeeze a party store or something in there. And so that's just down from Amanda Moore Elementary School, if you guys know where it's at.
That's the one that's been vacant for quite some time.
Yes,
Yes.
and it's gone up for sale, so I took a look at it and walked over there with them and went over some of the information on the property, and I did text the attorney here to let him know the information that was on that sheet. Did you get that, Mark?
I did.
Okay. Because I figure it's going to be a battle here, so we'll try to get in front of it if we can, and that's the ideal there.
So it is, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it is zoned commercial. It's not
Yes,
special
it is.
use. So if it changes, it doesn't go back to R1.
Did you take a look at that, Bill?
I saw what you sent me. I don't think it's zoned commercial. The church, the property would be zoned that which is applicable to the entire area where the property is located. I think it may be shown on the tax rolls or tax information as commercial in the sense that it's not residential in terms of the use. It's a church, or it was a church. But you'd have to look at the village records to see if it was zoned something other than residential, because my understanding of its location is that it's in a residentially zoned area. Churches are a permitted use in a residentially zoned area, and So if it continued as a church, I think that would be a permissible continuing use. But I don't think that specific parcel of property is owned commercial. But I could be wrong, and you can verify that you should be able to in the village records. I made no inspection, made no inquiry, but I think the designation on the tax rolls is not necessarily indicative of its actual zoning. So that's an important issue, but I think it's susceptible to a specific determination.
Something that we need to get out in front of. Right. As opposed to being the recipient of.
Yes, I agree. You do not want to be surprised, if it is a surprise, that, oh my goodness, we have this specific parcel of property for which it's zoned commercial, it's sitting in the middle of a residential neighborhood. So
you could either check with the assessor's office in Bruce Township, because it is in Bruce Township, or perhaps Treasurer Maddox can look that up in the tax records and give you that information.
You will? Yes, I'll send the information, or you should probably already got the information, but yeah, if you can
Just look it up. Yep.
check up on that. We get blindsided enough.
Anything else in your report?
Just some sidewalk repairs that residents are talking about on Mussey Street. And Mrs. Kraft might have mentioned it to you, not sure if she did or not.
She mentioned it to me when
she
I
did
spoke
call
with
you?
her.
Okay.
Yep, we're dealing with the developer that's building that property across the street, so trying to get that taken care of.
Okay. And that's pretty much it for right now.
Okay, Justin?
I'd just like to also thank everyone that came out and involved with Peach Fest. You had mentioned it was a great event. I had a lot of positive feedback from our DPW. A lot of the businesses were really happy with the cleanup and staying on top of it. So I'd like to thank you guys again, and police for being out there and keeping an eye on everything. It was a great event. Great to see people back in the village. That's it.
Bob, anything?
I would agree with what Justin just said, and nothing else to report.
Okay.
Nothing here.
Megan?
Yes, I agree, not to say it again, but yes, thank you guys. Also, I was able this past Friday to attend the Ford UAW 400. They had a rally trying to request that Romeo Ford stay open, so I was honored to be able to represent the village there. There was other elected officials, Mark Hackle, our Macomb County representative there, and a few other people. They asked us to wear red in solidarity, so again, I wore red today to, again, just show that solidarity with them and to ask for, please do not leave. Please do not take and displace our families and put this undue burden on them. I mean, it's one thing for us, but the people, this will affect their daily lives, the children possibly having to move schools. So we just beseech you to have compassion and stay here. And that's for that. And then one other thing, I received a FOIA as to my trustee email. So I wanted to reply to that and let everybody know I received a FOIA. And that in my reply, it was sent to me from Clerk Trapp to review it. So I addressed my reply to Clerk Trapp, and that this letter is in response to the email you sent to my Village of Romeo email today, September 20th, at 12:17 p.m. regarding the FOIA addressed to me, of which you requested I review. The Facebook post referenced by the FOIA request was created at approximately 11:30 on September 20th, that's today. The request asks for any and all text, phone conversations, and email correspondences in regards to the referenced Facebook post starting at 10 a.m. Monday, September 20th, again today, through 10 a.m. Monday, September 28th, 2021. Therefore, I have nothing to turn over from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on September 20th, as the referenced Facebook post did not exist yet. From 11:30 p.m. September 20th to the time I am writing this response, which was this afternoon at 3:30, again, I have nothing to turn over as no one has responded to the Facebook post either by email to my private email, text or phone call to my phone, or correspondence to the Village of Romeo email. The only thing sent there is this request to review this FOIA. As for the dates of September 21st to 10 a.m. Monday, September 28th, I cannot turn anything over as those dates are yet to exist. Also, just to note, September 28th, 2021 is a Tuesday, not a Monday, as written by the requester on the FOIA form. So respectfully me. So I will turn this over to our clerk, and that is my response as a trustee to the FOIA. And that is it.
You got FOIA from,
I did this afternoon.
Anything else to add?
That is it.
Okay, Nathan?
No, I'm just looking to get with Jeff to get started on Dickinson. I know he's been busy, and then of course we want to get the sidewalk up on the top of the hill.
Right,
But
so
we're still
just to
waiting.
give a quick little update from
Sure.
that sidewalk subcommittee, to expand on that, Nathan and I did have a conversation. He went out, he marked sidewalks just prior to Labor Day. He gave us those details. Thank you, Caroline, for assisting me in sending out the letters. We revamped it based on our previous years of experience, always trying to improve communication to make things a little bit clearer, and she corrected some of my grammar, so I appreciate some input from her on that. But we did send those notifications out. That was for West St. Clair. Then I have the easements drafted by HRC. Mark has reviewed those for the sidewalk across from the middle school. The only easement that's required is from the church. The funeral home doesn't require one because the sidewalk position is already within our right-of-way. And so we are hoping to get those easements up to whoever needs to sign them off at the church so we can move that project forward. Hopefully, we'd like the concrete work to be done at the same time, although I will work to get 3 estimates on that job, since it'll be over the $10,000, so we can report back to that. There are a couple of areas of sidewalk that needed to be completed yet on Dickinson, the house on corner of Dickinson and Bailey. Also, another one on Dickinson, I forget the address, but I asked Nathan to reach out to Jeff to make sure that those got completed. They got overlooked somehow, so we'll get that taken care of. And hopefully that will complete our work for this season. Then we'll pick it back up in the spring. So that's the sidewalks. Anything else to add for that?
No, I just want to mention the corner houses, sometimes they'll have, on the street that they're doing, they'll have sidewalks that need to be replaced. And if they don't see the ones like down the other street that they also, it's just overlooked, they didn't see it, and
Yeah.
I'm sure they would have done it at the same time. But we'll
Yeah.
get to those.
Yeah.
so while they're on Dickinson, we can bring it to their attention if they, I know there's Rogers sidewalks right there. Is that part of that Dickinson stuff that you're talking about?
I don't know who Roger is, so if you give me an address, I can look.
313 Dickinson?
Okay. I'll check.
315 Dickinson.
Yeah.
315? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check that out.
It's not, he's got, I don't know if that was on your,
They should be included. Some of the spray paint markings have worn off. I can still see the lines, but so some of them might need to have been gone over, or I need to go over some of them.
I know you mentioned 2 of the spots,
But I'll check out the 315 there, for sure.
Okay, rental inspection subcommittee I know has not met, that I'm aware of. I just wanted to note to you guys, I was approached by 2 new homeowners who both think this is very important. They're having some issues with their landlord right now. Inquired if there was such a program already in place because it would assist them in making the landlord do the right thing. So
Yeah, we've had, Bill's out of town, been out of town for a while, and then with Nicole and with the office pub and that whole transfer and then Peach Fest. September didn't work. We're planning hopefully the first week, if Pomerito is available, first week October.
if you send me some dates, we certainly can get something scheduled.
Marquette first week.
No, you'll be
That would be
Marquette the
good.
first week,
Yeah.
so, second week.
Second week of
Push for
October?
second week now.
Okay, perfect. Bruce Sewer Capacity Subcommittee, we did meet the subcommittee, well, some of the subcommittee, my error, scheduled a meeting on Thursday with Bruce Township. Mike Philbrook was there, Frank DeGiorgio was there, from HRC was there. We met at the plant to tour the facility. I inadvertently sent the invite to Zach instead of Matt. I had my subcommittees mixed up.
Matt and Zach sounds like, right? Matt?
Right.
That's close.
Yes. So when Justin asked me if Matt was coming, I was like, no, why would Matt be coming? And then he said, oh, you have your committee members wrong. So I did fill Matt in on what happened during that meeting, and so he's up to speed. We're just looking to move it forward and get the next steps in place. So nothing else to report other than we
Are we
started
going
that.
to, as far as your sewer capacity subcommittee, Matt, these 3, Are we going to use our leverage as far as what they want to keep our fire ALS the same, don't change? Are you
Well, we
gonna
have
put
a
that on the
5-year
table?
contract with them, so when we figure out what they actually are needing, what the cost of that infrastructure is, and what our plant can actually handle, that's where we're at right now. We just need to update the data so that we have a clear understanding of how much they are using. We know what their contract is right now. We're trying to get a handle on what developments they have permitted out there and what the expected flow should be to the system when all those buildings are built out. So that's where we're at right now, before we could even think about negotiating a price.
Well, we
So-
just want to make sure that our taxpayers aren't paying anymore, because when that contract does expire, it's going to go up. So if we can lock it in to what we're doing right now, with the negotiation that you guys are doing with the sewer, lock it in, you know, get it done.
We will take that under advisement.
Have you made the subcommittee aware of the letter that you sent to Bruce Township regarding the capacity? You sent it in July?
No, they probably have not seen that, because it's not really with their capacity other than the site plan approvals that they were seeking, and that's why I said we were trying to get an accounting of what they actually have permitted out there.
Okay. I know, I just found that reading it in the paper and then seeing the letter, that maybe the subcommittee should be privy to this information, which
Not
I
sure
can
what
pass
that
on
is.
to you guys.
What page?
Yeah,
It was a letter that was ghosted by Mark, because we site planned approved 2 developments, because there was a contention with that we were concerned they were overselling and going to exceed their 510,000 gallon capacity. They wanted to sell the taps, which is their revenue stream, and we met with their attorney and our attorney and negotiated how are we going to approve these? What's the latitude of the Village of Romeo to approve? We do have the right to approve them based on the engineering, not necessarily the capacity, but the design of the system.
Isn't that what we discussed Thursday?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
I'd like to thank you again for the tour of the plant. It was pretty amazing. A lot going on out there. I was impressed and a little taken back. I realized there was so much going on in the works out there. It was
Yes.
pretty amazing.
I would love to have a community-wide, open house tour, because most people, that's a huge price tag that comes, with the taxes that they pay for, but most don't realize how complex
Yeah.
and in-depth that plant is. So, and it's well-maintained, so thank you, Al, and the staff out there. Fabulous. Okay, unfinished business. Text My Gov. This is a quick update. You have in your packet a promotional piece. This was actually created by the folks at Text My Gov. Catherine and I met. We went through some initial training. Once the contract was signed, they had to go back and purchase the phone number, which is the 281-9281 number that you see there. That's where that number came into compliance. And then this directive tells you how to take advantage of it. So we're encouraging our residents to sign in. Just send a text that you wish to get started, 91896. If you just text in the word Romeo to that 91896, that will automatically enroll you for emergency alerts. So if there is a snow emergency, if there is a water main break, if there is a police incident that you need to be made aware of in your neighborhood, we will start sending out text alerts. We haven't used it yet, but that's what that is for. Also, if there is an unexpected delay in trash, those sorts of things that we're trying to figure out a way to communicate effectively and quickly to our residents. You can also text in to 586-281-9281 to report any issues and find answers. So we're setting up categories. The system is designed that it routes the inquiry to the proper department. So again, if they have an issue with trash, if theirs was missed, they can simply text in to trash and it will be alerted to GFL that this resident, it'll prompt back and forth, say what's the address, what's the issue. There's a series that's built into the software to help us identify exactly what it is so we can get them assistance quickly. So we're going to make this Facebook post. So you'll have this flyer handy. We have them available, obviously, at the village office. And I'm working with the MIT TV to record a little PSA to explain the program as well. So hopefully that will be out there soon. But again, to get started to report any issues and find answers, that number is 586-281-9281. And if you want to opt in for the emergency village alerts, you text Romeo, the word Romeo, to 91896.
And this is in effect now?
Yes.
Awesome. And all departments are participating?
Not all departments are participating. We identified 5 or 6 initially. If it's anything other than that, as they text in, then it will go to the general inbox, and then we'll work with the TextMyGov folks to figure that there's a need for that and get that developed.
Okay. I didn't know if like dispatch or PD was tied into this.
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
it is not for
I
a
think we discussed
911
that.
emergency, right? Right.
Oh,
You
non-emergency stuff.
Right,
I
you
didn't
still
know.
need to call the police department to have them take care of those sorts of things, yes. All right, any other questions on this? Obviously, no board action is necessary. Okay, next up, we have the non-union employee memo of understanding. We have later, after the Church Street parking lot, the labor and union negotiations in closed session. But to be cognizant of everybody's time that's here, we can go ahead and address that. To your point, Zach, it was recommended if we were going to make a large jump, as indicated on the Wage and Compensation Committee, that we may want to wait until after all of the unions are done. But there is some problems with the POAM and those negotiations. We are up against a tight deadline to take advantage of the priority health enrollment. We must start that process now in order to get everybody switched over by January 1. If we do not do that by January 1, then we are subject to a rate increase.
How much
So,
longer do you think it's gonna take in union negotiations?
I will talk about that when we get into the closed session.
Okay.
But you talked about inquiring about tabling it, and that's why, because
Well, we were
have
advised by legal
Yeah.
at that time.
We have DPW, we have wastewater, and we have the office staff that have agreed to these terms. So that is the majority that we can go ahead and get swapped over. So, all right, so.
I'm gonna side with Zach on that, based on the recommendation from legal to table this until at least after closed session or next month. I don't know if I can make a motion to that effect.
Second.
Do you want to take a roll call on that?
Simply based on the advice from our legal counsel.
Well, you didn't let Mark expand on why, right?
Well,
Exactly.
we're open for discussion right now before the vote, if we could ask for a legal recommendation.
I am suggesting that we wait until closed session for a reason for that.
So then we should table this until
we move
after.
it till after?
Until after closed
If we
session.
can't discuss it, then we should wait.
You want to move it on the agenda, or do you want to table it till next month?
At a minimum, table it till after closed, if not till next month.
So which would you prefer? It's your motion, so I'm just looking for clarification. Would you like to move it to after the closed session? We've already approved the agenda as is, but
Move it to after.
Yeah, I'd like to move it till after closed.
My second motion would be moved to after the closed session.
so it's your motion
My
to
motion
move
sec-
it to after closed
Yes.
session, and
My
Zach second.
yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to restate this. So you want to table 9B until after the closed session.
That's
Mhm.
correct.
Please table the right.
We don't want to table it, well, we just want to move it on the agenda.
Move it on the
We're gonna move
agenda
it
at
on
this
the
time,
agenda.
Mhm.
based on the outcome of closed session.
Okay. So Parker,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
No.
Edwards,
No.
Hart, Poznanski,
Yes.
and Melzan.
No.
Motion fails.
Okay, after discussion with Mark, and previous months, last month in particular, the office staff does not qualify for the same consideration per the Open Meetings Act that the unions do. So that's why this is not included in our closed session. So I have put together the benefit package, and you see that in front of you in the memo of understanding. This is the same contract with the changes that you see highlighted in yellow that you previously approved, and the employees and I negotiated that and agreed to these terms. So does anybody have any discussion on any of the items in the memo of understanding?
Megan, is this what you got FOIA'd for? This
This?
information?
No.
Yeah, we're on this one.
The last page?
Oh, the last page.
No, it was regarding any communication to my phone, email, text message regarding my Facebook post.
If there's no discussion on the memo of understanding,
I would like to discuss on Article 11, the vehicle use policy. I do know we got the new village vehicle now. It's been brought to my attention by residents and some business owners that it's just parked randomly in town. And I know we went through a lot with getting the security and everything at DPW to protect our village assets. I'd like to see something added in to protect that asset instead of just leaving it parked overnight randomly.
it's not parked overnight anywhere other than in Mark's parking lot.
Oh, it's
That's
been
where
seen
it's
other
parked.
places. It's been behind the print shop and other areas around town. It was just brought to my attention with pictures.
It was parked behind the print shop as I was loading to go to my conference, when I had the
And I'm not
assignment.
arguing
But-
that fact,
but it is
but
parked.
if we're gonna,
Right. You,
if we're going to invest money into security to protect our village assets, like you made clear, that vehicle is also a village asset.
Yes,
It
it
should
is.
be parked and locked up at DPW at night, if that's where we're securing our vehicles. Or parked by PD where they're there 24/7, so that it can be protected. I mean, that we invested money for that purpose.
well, we don't have public parking available behind the police department, right? And it is not necessarily convenient for anybody who's going to the cemetery or to the bank to get in their car, to drive out to the DPW to retrieve that municipal vehicle to drive it. It defeats the purpose. So having it parked where the police can certainly keep an eye on it, and Mark was gracious enough to allow us to park it in his parking lot. It can be seen right from Chief Dan's window.
It's there
Yeah.
it's there every night.
Yes, it is
Very
there every
consistent.
day.
And I can
Yes.
respect that, but it's
Mhm.
still
Unless it's
unsecured.
being-
And
right,
if we're
unless
just going to
somebody's utilizing it.
not secure our village assets based on convenience, why did we invest all the money into DPW and wastewater for security if we're just based on convenience?
Well, one, because not all of us have keys to the yard at the at DPW to even go out there and retrieve the vehicle, depending on what time we leave. They do close up at 3 o'clock or 3:30 in the afternoon, so that is potentially a problem. The security system was truly at the wastewater for the comings and goings of who was entering that facility.
And I can appreciate that after
Right?
being there.
Also,
yes.
and for the and for the DPW site, for those that were driving out by the garbage heap or taking benches from behind the shed.
No, it created concern. It was brought to my attention by other residents that
What was the police car, where was it parked?
right next to the police dispatch window where they're there 24/7,
Residents brought up to your attention that they're worried about that vehicle?
that it's parked
Is that what you're saying?
randomly, not in a village lot, yeah.
Do we
Or
pay rent
unsecured.
No, it's not parked randomly.
Are we paying rent for
There every
the
night.
parking space?
Well, and
No.
there's evidence of
I
it
mean,
being
during
parked
the
other
day, it
places
does
in
get
town
moved while
overnight.
it's
People are
being
taking
used, but-
pictures of where the
Yes,
car is at
yes.
and giving it to you.
Sometimes
They're
you
like,
just
oh, when did you
gotta,
guys get a village car? Why is it parked behind the print shop?
well, sometimes you just gotta know that, you know what, we can't put a camera on everything that we own, and we do have insurance if the worst comes to worst.
Exactly. To my point earlier in the year when we were talking about putting a camera on the garbage at DPW. Thank you.
Is there
And
any
you wanted
discussion?
to secure our village assets, and now,
Yep.
for convenience, you don't care.
I think it's very safe there.
I do too.
It's very safe.
I do too. And no, we're not paying rent. I asked Mark if him and his partners would allow us because parking is limited on the side of our building. And he graciously agreed, so
Is
that's
that
where
any
we're
kind of
parking it.
conflict of
you,
interest
Mr.
though, or
Clark.
ethical, as he's a contractor, we contract for his services, and now does he or his partner feel that they can't refuse us for asking? I don't know, that puts them in a weird spot.
I do not feel that I cannot refuse. And in fact, somebody related to me parked cars in my parking lot over Peach Festival, and I asked that the car be moved so that compensation could be charged for that space, and it was promptly moved. I'm not compensated for having it there. We live in Romeo, we help each other out.
That's
I'm
a great-
okay with it.
Thank you,
But it's up to you where it gets parked. I'm just saying it presents no problem
Okay.
to me.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Any other discussion on this memo of understanding in any of the terms? Otherwise, can I get a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion that we move forward and improve the.
Yes.
Does this include our wage compensation, or is this just
Right now, the wage is going to be next,
okay.
but if you would like me to include it in this discussion, I certainly can.
Well,
Yes.
that's not on our agenda. Only the memo of understanding
Then we will
is
include
on
it
the
now.
agenda.
Can't vote on it.
Well-
So, did anybody want to speak?
I
Yes.
could speak if I could just for
Mhm.
quick, short and sweet.
As you know, hi, everybody, I'm
Cindy.
Cindy. I've worked in the village office for the last 16-plus years, and I just wanted to say a few things. First, I want to say thank you to Christine for her support in expediting this wage comparison study. It obviously shows that the village staff has been underpaid in comparison to our neighboring communities. And I feel like we've been overlooked for quite a long time when it comes to our wages in the office. Secondly, I'd like to ask our village trustees for your support, because you're the ones that we need to have the support from. So that's it. I'd like you to support us if you could, please.
Thank you, Cindy. I don't know if anybody else, any other employees want to speak. Tim?
I would like you to please.
Right. Yeah. Just before Tim starts, Tim came into my office this morning and discussed his recommendation of the $35 per hour. He certainly has a point in that the wage study did not take into account municipalities that also had a water treatment. I did mention that when we went over his position, that the municipalities that were comparable did not include that, although I did increase in my recommendation amount from the 50% category to accommodate for that. But he would like to say a few words, because he may wish that to be increased.
And I would also like to thank Christine and the board members for doing the wage study, because we're lacking, like I said, compared to other communities. But on my wage study, I don't feel apples were compared to apples, not even apples to oranges. Basically, the study that was done for me was on the DPW supervisor position. It does not include my OIC of the water system and the water treatment plant, water tower, in that study, because most of the other communities do not have water. I mean, they have water, but it's not village water. Like most of them are contracted out by the county, the sewer and water. A couple of the guys, one of the guys isn't even DPW supervisor, he's just a DPW leader. So I don't, like I said, I don't feel it was compared apples to apples. So I guess I'm asking for 37 instead of 35 to take into account of the OIC of the water system.
And Tim does a great job.
Thanks again
Yep.
for all you guys' support, and hopefully you support us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Was there anybody else who wanted to say anything?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the full-time employees. It's just the elected officials, which I see on the increase. The people vote you in for a certain amount. And when you come in, you automatically keep increasing your amount. I don't think the people voted you in for that exact reason, but it just keeps happening. I mean, the employees, fine, I agree there, but it's all wrapped up into one package, and I just can't can't go.
Actually, it was this board that set that salary, not the people.
It was
This
the
board-
majority of the board.
This board
So I
set that
voted
back
no.
in 2014 at $30,000, and it hasn't been addressed since. So it wasn't the residents, it was the board. Not everybody was present at that time, but that's where it was set, which the wage study shows that that's significantly grossly underpaid. The wage study showed should be near $40 an hour, and if you were to hire a village manager, we all know that's probably what you could anticipate spending if we decide to go that route in the recommended amount. Currently, I make $14.42 an hour. I don't think anybody could say that is of significance for the duties that I do. I literally could go work anywhere and make more money than that. The job and the duties that were compiled when Marion resigned, or retired, excuse me, and was what it said at 30,000. That is not today what the duties entail. Is significantly more. It is not a part-time position, it's a full-time position, and I think I have displayed that over 3 years. We both have Bruce Township and Washington Township that voted themselves increases within 6 months of their oath of office. I have been doing this job for 3 years, and I am anticipating, should I choose to run again next November, anybody who files to run for this office would be noticed of what that salary pays, and we wouldn't run into this problem next year.
It's always been the village's policy to at least not be the highest paying village, but not being the lowest paying village. We always wanted to try to stay within that 50 percentile. That's kind of the way we've always focused
On
payment of the
the
employees.
administrators, correct. But it's just all one package deal, and give the people an opportunity to say, yes, I do this, but our employees, I'm not in disagreement with that, but it's just all wrapped up in one big ball.
We agreed when we asked for the wage and compensation study to be done, that it would cover all of the positions, and that's why it's in one package, because it does.
This is entitled full-time employee recommended compensation. Whose recommendation
Mine.
is this? So you personally, this is what you recommend that we do?
Based on the performance reviews, yes.
Okay.
And I am not recommending the $40 for myself or the $9 difference that we talked about for our chief of police. I went with a different percentage. So you will see there that it's only at $28 an hour, not $40, which is in alignment with what our Bruce Township supervisor makes.
I think that all this is very reasonable.
It seems kind of
is your
skewed that our full-time employees, there's 6 of them, that equals literally just $1 or so off from what the 3 elected will be all, the raise. The raise for the full-time is just about 20, and the raise for the 3 electeds is the same amount, 20. That seems very skewed.
Well, the difference from the start was huge.
I guess a few things are concerning here. One, first, is the way it was put on the agenda that our residents and people were alerted to. It talks about a memo of understanding. It talks nothing about salary increases.
No, and you were.
And that's
we were just gonna do
been
it
kind of
separate.
the MO with the agendas and the way the minutes have been recorded is they're very untransparent and people are unaware of what to expect, or if they're looking at this and this is all they've got and they want to come speak on something, how do they know what we're even talking about? I think it was in June when you brought up getting rid of elected positions. The way it got recorded in the minutes was discussion held. There was no input for the residents, and now we're seeing that again. So that's alarming. Second, I mean, we're going from $14 to $28 an hour. That's double.
It was recommended 14 to 40. That's what the recommendation was.
And these
14
recommendations
to
have been done
40.
before.
For the administrator, are you the administrator or are you
Yes,
the
I am.
president?
Yep, I am the administrator and the CEO of this village.
Okay, so are you the president or
The
the
president
administrator?
is the administrator of this
No,
municipality.
it is not. They are 2
Yes, it
separate
is.
positions.
No, it is not.
That is incompatible office, ma'am.
The duties of the administrator are the duties by the general village law. They are the same
You
duties,
cannot hold the
ma'am.
office, I'm not speaking duties. I'm saying you
The
cannot hold the
duties
office of
of the
administrator,
administrator
and you
are the
cannot hold
duties.
office of
Yes.
president. You must choose which office you
The
are.
office of president in the ordinance allows for the naming of an administrator or to retain the duties and perform them themselves and capture the salary that was allocated for those duties.
Yes, ma'am.
So
And
that's
that
an
is in the
that's an
ordinance.
Yes,
I
it
don't
is.
see,
So then these
I don't see an
would
ordinance
require an
here.
ordinance change?
Yes, yes, it would.
So we'd have to have these drafted and represented then,
Not the clerk and not the treasurer. It's just that of the president.
or the administrator.
President administrator, yep, it is interchangeable.
So that we can't even make a motion on today.
Absolutely you can, because once it's approved, that's what you amend the ordinance.
Well, we'd need to see the draft of the ordinance to
You're
approve it.
gonna see the draft of the ordinance.
What is your
and it would be brought
recommendation
forward.
as far as for Tim?
Well, I'm not saying that Tim is not deserving of $37 an hour. I think, like Dan, there was a bigger discrepancy in what it should be paid. And while I'd love to give everybody everything that they ask for, I think that we reasonably have to look at where we at, what's acceptable, and give us room to grow, right?
Christine, I'd like to speak.
Yes, Sherry.
Okay, first of all, if you could just provide me with some clarification under the treasurer's salary in the duties section of $31.54. What arrives at, what does that mean?
That is your salary. That is your 2 assistants. That's Tim, the accountant who helps you perform your duties, and that is Caroline's salary that you have budgeted.
Okay, well, you'll need to get clarification from Tim, because I did speak to him this afternoon, and he is not aware of any funding that goes to the treasurer from his salary to provide assistance for me in that regards, because he direct reports to the clerk.
Right.
So
Sherry,
any
we
amount
know
on that.
we know that he assists you in doing your job.
Does he assist you at all?
No, he does not.
Not with anything?
He answers some general questions when I have budgeting questions
And
or
then
where
no
to
one-
allocate
So if we're gonna
something.
allocate
Right.
duties from other people to the clerk and the treasurer, there is no one in the office or a consultant that assists you with anything?
The consultants
Because
is
shouldn't
a
that be included in
the-
this number then?
No, the consultants are project-based, and that's approved, right? And you're correct. I do not have any assistants, although Caroline graciously has helped me with the sidewalk subcommittee. So no, I do not have an employee in the office that helps me draft letters, return phone calls, gather documents. I do that all myself.
Interesting.
And at this current time, when I was elected to take on the position and role as treasurer, I have stated from day one, 30,000 for my full term. So if the board does decide to honor this recommendation, compensation, I will decline the increase in pay. And I'll stand pat at 30,000.
Although the ordinance at the time and the allocated amount from this trustee was $28,000 when you took office. You brought it forward that because a budget line item said $30,000, that's what your salary should be argued. So technically, out of any of the elected officials, you're the only one who has gotten a raise since you've taken office.
No, I don't know. Catherine gets
Stipends.
$75 a meeting to take minutes, so that's a raise.
Not to her salary, right? It's a meeting stipend, and it's different.
And then I would like
But you certainly
the
don't have to accept it.
exact amount that Tim does provide assistance with me in that regard, broken down.
We can
with-
get clarification from James.
Okay.
James worked with Tim on that and developed that recommendation because that was his report.
Okay, thank you.
And he did report on that last month when he was here, so.
Well, thank you, Sherry. That is very respectable.
Yes, thank you.
Can I just speak on mine one more second?
Sure.
Sorry, I just want to let you guys know, through the study, Holly was the only one that was not listed on here, and I personally contacted every community that was listed. And Holly is the only community that basically has the same responsibilities I do, and their DPW supervisor / OIC is at 4469. So I'm not requesting that. Like I said, I'm working to meet in the middle at 37, so please take that into consideration.
Absolutely. Any other discussion?
I'd make a motion to approve the full-time and part-time employees, with Tim's being at 37 as he requested.
Second.
So you're excluding the electeds from your motion?
I think we need to talk about that more.
Okay.
Just for clerical purposes, should we get this out of the way first? Let's approve this, if we're gonna approve this memo.
Megan is saying that it's all one agenda item, so we are approving it at the same time.
This is all one agenda item?
No, I did not say that, ma'am.
No, I don't think she
It was
did.
not put on the agenda correctly.
No.
It was put on as the memo of understanding, and this is a separate thing. You yourself are going to do it separately to begin with. To go forward and get it done, we put it together right now.
Yep, so is your motion to approve that for the part-time and the full-time?
Yes, for the employees.
The part and full-time,
Yep.
including dispatch. And the full-time. Just everything but electeds, Megan?
Correct, that's my motion.
And I second it.
Just to clarify, that's the part-time dispatchers, that's not.
Yeah.
Correct. There are 3 part-time, the dispatchers,
There's only 2 part-time dispatchers.
right. But there are 3 positions that are listed, yes. 2 office clerical, and then the dispatch, part-time.
Yeah. And I hate to do this, but if I may speak for just a second. I'm the chief of police. Tim's no, forget you, Tim, but Tim's DPW. Chief of police, there should be a kind of hierarchy. Now, chief of police, fire chief, people under that. What you're proposing is DPW making more than the chief of police, which is kind of insulting.
Can I say something?
You can now.
Oh, we're all gonna do it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that put me at the lowest. Someone else, let's throw it out there. I don't have a secretary. I do my own admin work. The other department heads do. And all the reports, all my everything I do my own. I don't have a truck to drive home. So everybody's gonna get a bigger raise, why not? That's all I have to say.
I don't know, Megan, you got a motion on the table, but there seems to be a lot of discussion that still needs to be had with
Why,
this.
should've been after that.
And a lot just getting thrown tonight. I'm gonna suggest we table this again for further discussion based on this and not make any decisions tonight. Because
I think we have
But-
everything right
right.
here to make a decision. It just, we're discussing it now. But waiting a month, what is that going to do?
Nothing. It's not going to do anything. So you either take the recommendations or you make a different recommendation. That's what you do.
Motion
we're
on the
gonna need
table.
to see.
So we have a motion on the table.
Budget.
We had support. Are you withdrawing your support?
Nope,
Okay.
still support.
Can you call the roll? And that was
I'm gonna
to,
have somebody restate the motion for me, please.
Mhm.
My motion is to go with the memo of understanding as written, and for the recommended compensation for the full-time and part-time employees, with the addition of Tim's to 37.
Full and part-time employees.
Correct. Negating the elected officials.
We still have discussion for this.
you have one more opportunity.
I would
Yep.
just like,
Then we're
I
gonna
mean-
move this on, right?
I know Dan and Al, are you both requesting more? Tim got up and defended that amount that he's asking or requesting. I just, can you guys provide detail or information of why you would want more?
Dan's 50 percentile was for 42 to 55.
I'm just asking them.
I'm just saying, right, this was a compromise based on the recommendation from our legal from last month. That's why I picked that number. So, if you
I'm
have
just
anything else
asking
to say,
them
right.
to defend what
should-
they asked for.
He should be making, he didn't ask for that, that's my recommendation.
He just asked for more than what you recommended.
He
And
didn't
I'm
give a
asking
total.
him for
Yes.
clarification on why and what that number would be.
So if you talk to me, I do my own admin. I payroll, everything I do. I do all my correspondence. Nobody else deals with it. Department heads don't. I don't have a truck to drive home. That's probably a good $4,000 or $5,000 perk right there.
You're not on call 24/7 either, Alan. You don't, how much overtime do you work in the winter time when it's snowing, or how many times do you get called?
This should be like
I am
this.
on call 24
You
hours.
want to start throwing people under the bus.
There you go.
I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I'm just defending
Right.
myself. You defend yourself, defend myself. You know, I am on call 24 hours. I can show you my phone logs. I get calls from alarms all the time.
Dan, did you have anything to say?
No, I don't.
Right.
Do either of you have a suggested amount that you would be requesting?
Amount that was asked for? She asked for?
If you give me a raise, you give me a raise. If you think I'm valuable, that's up to you. If you don't, then you don't. I honestly didn't ask for anything.
Right.
I feel the same way.
And I find it extremely hypocritical that you would expect the president of your village to supervise these supervisors who are clearly making way more than the $28 an hour that is requested. $14.46 an hour is all that I earn for the performance of those duties, to make sure that each and every one of these departments are running. And for you to scoff at that clearly shows your political motivation behind your decision.
Well, that is your opinion, ma'am.
Position that you ran for.
It's not the truth by any stretch of the imagination.
Yes, it
that
is.
you are
It's
entitled
okay.
to your
I'd like to
opinion.
call for a vote, please.
Black and white. Yeah, this, you just requested a $28,000 a year raise.
Roll call, please.
Koznanski,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
No.
Edwards,
No.
Hart,
No.
Malzahn.
No.
Motion fails.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the memo of understanding as put in front of us, and the recommendations for the full-time employees, recommended compensation, elected officials, and part-time employees. I would like to amend the Tim Metz's salary from $35 to $37. And I would like to also amend Daniel Sokolicki's salary from $36.56 to $38 even.
I'll support that.
Okay. We have a motion by Edwards. Is there any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Does the president get to vote on her increase?
Yes.
Is that?
Why would I not?
Legal?
It's not ethical, but.
Well, the president is a member of the board. I believe the president can vote, but it was alluded to earlier, by statute, the trustees and the president's compensation has to be set by ordinance. And what you're doing tonight is not approving an ordinance. And so until there's an ordinance that's adopted, it's my opinion that the president's salary cannot be changed, nor could the trustees' salaries be changed. Because again, by statute, it requires it be done by ordinance. As to other officers, the statutes say as prescribed by the council. And so I believe that could be by ordinance or resolution. But the statute is very specific about compensation for the office of president and the office of trustee.
But we can set that number and bring an ordinance back with that amount included in it for consideration by this board.
Yes, but
Thank you. Thank you.
If the motion passes, it's my opinion that because it's not in an ordinance, that if there's an increase based on the motion, it would not go into effect now.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't want there to be any misunderstanding
Yep.
about it.
So
37.
is it best then, Mark, to remove the administrative or president, whatever we're calling her now, from this at this time and just
Well,
bring it back as an ordinance change?
I'm not gonna make a value judgment, I'm not gonna say whether it's best.
There's no
or-
legal-
Or not best. No, I can just tell you that if the resolution passes, it will not be effective to increase the president's salary. Because it's not an ordinance.
Roll call, please.
So there's no reason to have it in there.
Edwards,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Poznanski,
No.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Fowler,
No.
Parker,
No.
Melzan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay. New business.
all your work.
Leverage, I like that.
Yeah, that's all.
New business, we have Church Street parking lot. You have in front of you 2 proposals for engineering to do the initial work on the parking lot. I reached out to both Rowe and I reached out to HRC. You can see the 2 amounts. HRC was $14,327.60 and Rowe was $21,900. Although Rowe does include some additional work. DDA, that he thinks it would be beneficial to include the DDA since it's within their district. His time allotment for attending the meetings. He is also proposing to prepare 3 conceptual layouts. So
The recommendation is HRC, which
I'm-
is our contractor.
I'm fine with either one. I just want to get this into process because, right, we'd like to move this forward, so.
You could always ask them to do additional.
Exactly.
I'll make a
Yes.
motion to accept the bid from HRC.
Support.
Roll call, any other discussion? Roll call?
Hart,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Melzan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
7-0. Thank you very much. At this time, can I get a motion to move into closed session for the purposes of labor negotiations?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll second it.
Oh, my motion is to approve the tentative agreement items between the DPW and the wastewater treatment plant, including the memo of understanding for the wastewater treatment plant as presented.
And I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Melzan,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Bartholomew.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Can I get a unanimous motion to adjourn?
Before we do it, I would just like to follow up on the email that we received last week. And if we could ask Mark for his opinion on making changes or alterations to minutes or legal documents or village documents outside of closed session? Or outside of open meeting?
What email?
We got an email, Catherine
Right.
asked for changes to the minutes prior to the meeting.
For clerical reasons, right? Not affecting the content, if you want to discuss the content or the intent behind it. But certainly if you have, I voted a no on this, or there was any clerical.
Well, a voting issue would seem more than clerical, right?
Well, it's
No.
a matter of fact.
Right.
It's either this or that. It's not up to
We're not debating it.
debating it.
We're just correcting it because people have been complaining that we're wasting so much time at the beginning of the meetings, hashing over these ridiculous things like a typo here, and certainly we want them
I
to
don't know
be
if
correct.
they're typos, I mean, they're
We want them
blatant.
to be correct, but there's no
Yeah.
reason that we need to do that in a meeting setting when she can send it out in advance. And if you note them, she's happy to correct them so that when you get them in your packet, they are corrected.
I believe open meeting speaks to that any corrections made to the minutes need to be made at the subsequent meeting.
Yeah,
Any corrections.
I think you have to be really careful. It's one thing if you're talking about actually, you spelled a word wrong or your grammar's incorrect or something of that nature. But anything that's substantive, you have to be careful because the Open Meetings Act, what you're doing is presenting minutes of your open meeting. You had a meeting and these are your minutes, and I don't think they can be corrected, altered, gerrymandered in a round robin fashion. Okay, all of you have them, you weigh in, so then the clerk makes a change, somebody else says, well, I don't agree with that change, but make this change.
And are you going to see the updates throughout the changes?
The law is pretty clear. You cannot conduct business by round robin, by in piecemeal. And so while the effort is laudable, you have to be very careful, and I would caution against exchanging comments about what should be in the minutes and what shouldn't be outside of an open meeting. Because again, stating, and I apologize for repeating myself, but it's really important. Your minutes reflect, hopefully, what you did at an open meeting. They are either approved or corrected at an open meeting. And so I caution you against straying from that pretty basic principle.
Reading
I have a
straight
question
from,
then. Oh, go ahead, Megan, I'm sorry.
reading straight from the Open Meeting Act under the minutes. The public body shall make any corrections in the minutes at the next meeting after the meeting to which the minutes refer. We need to do it in an open meeting.
You do.
Either that, or maybe we need to hire somebody else to take the minutes. Because for the past multiple years, it's annoying to us too, just as much as it's annoying to the people in the audience, that we have to sit and correct this. Maybe we need to hire somebody else to take our minutes.
What is the process? I mean, before it's actually put out and posted, and she's asking us a week before the meeting, after it's already been posted for the public to see, to make clerical errors. Does anyone proofread it after her? Does it have to be okayed by you before it goes out? I mean, what is that process?
The draft does come to me. I don't always have time to accommodate that based on the timing of getting it ready 8 days out.
So it's definitely something we should look at then. If we're putting out minute after minutes after minutes that need multiple correction, I think that's more than just for us to review it, like you said, in round robin method before a meeting. So that was just alarming, and to be 100% honest, I didn't like the
Especially
response
since
about political grandstanding. I don't think it has anything to do with
Open
political
Meetings Act training,
grandstanding.
she should know this. And to even suggest that, she should know better.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you for that clarification.
8:38. Thank you, everybody.